How we going, guys? Welcome to a live Hogs vlog. We haven't done this for a while, I think since the IPL, so I'm looking forward to it. So, Nami Austin, how you going? Senan Guzu Kumar, how are you going too? Vishwa Pratik, and hang on, here we go. There seems to be a bit of a call coming in. That's what the mumbling was going about there, Pratik. But let's get straight into it. England were out-bowled by India yesterday. What class? So let's get into it. Roll the bumper, please, Shubs. Well, if we quickly look at it, England are in a lot of trouble at the moment. India only need 162 runs with 10 wickets in hand to get in front on the first innings. But the Duke ball is moving around a little bit, both with seam and swing. So it's going to be a tough little battle for India, but they need to get in front and put pressure on this inexperienced England batting lineup. So let's get into the points straight up. First up, we've got Jasprit Bumrah, line and length with his swing as well. This is the best I've probably seen Bumrah bowl out Test level. And I was a little bit worried after watching the World Test Championship that he'd fallen away a little bit because of his injuries. And it just proves that if you have a little bit of a break, be able to get your fitness up and get fresh for a big tournament or a big series like this one, you can come back and be a little bit sharper with more skill to your development. So I was very impressed with the way that Jasprit Bumrah bowled. 4 wickets, and that wicket of Burns up front where he just set him up beautifully, just bowling across the line of the left-hander. And you watch Burns' footwork. He was getting further across on that front leg to cover that away swing. Then all of a sudden he brought the ball back in, overbalanced Burns, and bang, out LBW. That's probably the best display of bowling to a left-hander you can see. So well done to Jasprit Bumrah on his performances. He bowled real quick, just the way that he's swinging it away, but that in-swing as well coming wide of the crease troubled a lot of the England batsmen. But he was also helped by Shami out the other end with his seam and pace and keeping the pressure on, and the other bowlers. So the next point that we've got, players displaying patience. What I was very impressed with was, yes, Bumrah and Shami really set the game up with their early spells and kept the pressure on. But then you've got Siraj and Thakur, 2 inexperienced bowlers, bowling in that those middle periods and just keeping the pressure on. Siraj attacking the stumps, and Thakur not trying to be greedy with that away swing and attack the stumps. He was bowling wide of the stumps. Only 3 deliveries he bowled in his whole spell were hitting the stumps, and one of them got the big wicket of Joe Root. So well done to Thakur. So I thought the bowlers bowled really well together, and when there was a big partnership between Root and Bairstow, they didn't go away from their game plans. And then great captaincy from Kohli, just bringing Shami back just before tea when Bairstow was just starting to be a little bit more defensive, just trying to get to that tea break. Shami got the LBW wicket. So well captained by Kohli, and good partnership bowling by all 4 bowlers. And well, I'm really impressed with Thakur and Siraj as well. You know, young bowlers coming into Test level, yes, you want to get those big wickets. You want to take those big wickets, but they didn't go away from their game plan. And that's why the likes of Siraj did so well down here in Australia against an experienced Australian batting lineup. They kept to their game plan. They kept it nice and simple. They didn't get greedy and chase the big wickets. And that's why India are so dominant at the moment out Test level. Okay, let's go to the next point. Openers set up day 2. I thought they batted extremely well, both Rahul and Rohit Sharma. There were a little bit of there were a few moments there where, gee whiz, where you were a little bit nervous that they played a rash shot or the ball's beating the outside edge. But in this innings, with the way that the ball's swinging there in overcast conditions, and I'm looking at the weather forecast for the next couple of days, it's going to be overcast conditions. There's going to be a lot of luck. So the way that these 2 batted last night, they were trying to avoid getting beaten on the inside edge. If the ball moved away, they weren't chasing it. I think Rohit Sharma chased a short one wide of off stump that was there to hit and played a miss. But anything that's full, they haven't been chasing it, which is really good. And I'm going to be very excited about how Rohit Sharma bats in this series. He's had a good month and a half, 2 months to prepare for this series where he's just batting test match cricket with a Duke ball swinging away with that movement off the seam. I just want to see how he performs here because remember, he hasn't performed that well in Test cricket away from Indian conditions. One other point I'd like to make is Ollie Robinson came in. Now, remember that Jamieson from New Zealand troubled the Indian batsman with his height in the World Test Championship final. Well, Ollie Robinson has got a similar height to Jamieson. Now, the first over, Rahul had a couple of opportunities to hit boundaries. He went after it, but he didn't connect. And then Robinson started to find a little bit of comfort after that and troubled Rohit Sharma in the next couple of overs. So there was just a little bit of moment, or there was a little moment in the game where Rahul could have capitalised, but he missed the opportunity, and that's just luck in the game. And just a little bit of extra bounce caused Rahul to miss those cut shots outside the off stump that were there on offer. But I think the game's set up for a big one. India have got to be very careful with the bat, that they don't be too aggressive. Watch Robinson, but I think there's a lot of scoring opportunities from the other bowlers there. And if India get 100 lead, I don't think England, with their inexperienced batting lineup, can get back into the game, and India might be chasing 50 in that final innings. Okay, let's get to the questions. Oh, gee whiz, Shubs, I got that out in under 7 minutes. You beauty, that's the first time. Ollie Robinson, Rohan Yeoli. How are you going, Rohan? I think this is the first question that we have taken from you on Hogs Vlog. So welcome to the platform, mate. Thank you very much for joining me. Is Ollie Robinson a big scare on day 2? What I saw yesterday, as I just explained, with Rahul not taking advantage on a couple of loose balls that he bowled in that first over, could have put pressure on the youngster. He came back well. He was hitting a good line and length, and he was hitting the pads of Rohit Sharma, just a little bit of cut. And Rohit Sharma's footwork wasn't as precise as the other bowlers that don't have that extra height. And that's where England were falling away. I mean, India were falling away against New Zealand, against Jamieson in that World Test Match Championship final. So they've got to find a way to counteract Robinson. I don't think Robinson has as much pace as Jamieson, but he's got the same bounce, which is the problem. So they might want to come and bat outside their crease to him to just negate him being able to bowl a little bit fuller, knowing that the Indian batsmen are going to be on the crease attacking those stumps. So they want to try and make him bowl a little bit shorter than fuller. Good question there, Rohan. I like it. Okay, next question, please, Shubs. Nadini Kande. How are you going, Nadini? I'm pretty sure this is the first question from you too. Hey, Hoggy, how are you doing? I am doing really well over here in Australia, except for watching Australia versus Bangladesh. Not enjoying the way that Australia are playing the T20 cricket at the moment, but other than that, life's pretty good. What do you reckon is going to be the ideal score for India to obtain a victory? Ask Hoggy. I think this first test match is very important for India to really take control of the match. They've set it up beautifully after that first day. So for me, I think they've got to get around about 250 to 300. With the way that the Duke ball is moving over there and the quality of the England bowlers, that's the English strength of bowlers, I think 250, I think they'll be very happy with that. That will give them a lead of just under 100. And with the top 3 batsmen of England not being in full form, and then you've got the likes of Lawrence coming in out 6 and Butler just looking out of shape as well in Test match cricket, I think that will be a formidable score for India to get in front. And I think they might be chasing about 50 to 100 in that final innings to win the game. So 250 for me, I think they'll be happy with. But let's be a little bit greedy. If they get 300, India might not have to bat again in this test match. Good question there, Nadini. All right, next question, please. Atal Baral, how are you going, mate? Enjoying our little chats on Twitter every now and then. What do you think of India's strategy of dropping Ashwin from the first test match? Summing it up, I think if you look at the conditions and what the weather forecast was for the next 3 days, and it looked as though there was only going to be a full day of play on day 5, I think they did the right thing, especially now that they bowl first. Then you don't need a spinner on day 5 on this particular wicket. So I think that everything has worked in India's favour with that decision. Jadeja's a better bat. And when you look at Jadeja's stats, he bowls better or he has a better record than Ashwin generally in the first innings of a test match. So if you look at these conditions, those conditions are going to be suited to first innings cricket all the way through with that overcast condition. So I think they've done the right decision. Jadeja's a better bat as well. Thakur swings the ball, and you're going to get more swing movement and sieve movement on this wicket. And I think Siraj does the same, or does a similar role to what Shami does. A little bit of ball movement in the air and a little bit of seam, and that's what you needed on here. It was a gutsy move to go away from India's genuine strength, where they play those 2 spinners and 3 quicks, and it was a bold move, but it was the right move on this particular wicket. Question there, Artel, and I hope you're going well. Have we got the next question there, please? Shubs, thank you very much. Who's this? Dhruva Kanwar, how are you going? I think this is your first question too. There's a lot of firsts today. I'm absolutely loving it. Hey, Hoggy, how are you doing? Great. What are the conditions like for bowling out Trent Bridge from day 3 onwards? Look, when you're over in England, it can be different for every year. It's got overcast conditions here with a little bit of rain, so that's going to keep the wicket fairly tacky and a little bit of seam movement. If there was a lot of sunshine around, there's been a lot of cricket being played on that particular wicket, then you would have played the spinners later on in the game. So you would have played 2 spinners. So you've got to sum up the conditions over there. Will it start to spin or continue to swing owing to the overcast conditions? I don't think we're going to see much spin on this wicket over here out Trent Bridge. I think we're going to see a lot more swing during the next couple of days and a lot of seam. So batters have got to be switched on, good footwork, and not chase the ball outside that on the outside edge. So it's going to be patient batting. It's going to be tough. It's going to be exhilarating cricket, and we're going to be right on the edge of our seats right at the final day. And look, I like games where spin plays a part because I am a spinner, but I also love the intricacies of the game when you have a game dominated by one form. And this game's going to be dominated by seam movement, swing movement, and I like to see the batsmen tested in these conditions as well. As long as we get a couple of games where spin can play a vital role in this series, and we have that good mix, then I'll be really happy with this test series. But at the moment, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. Good execution of swing bowling. God, Boomer bowled sensational yesterday. All right, next question, please, Shubs. Srinath Prakash, how you going? Who do you think will step up and help England come back today? I think it's going to be Ollie Robinson and also Sam Curran. Remember, Sam Curran was, I think, man of the series for England in the last Test series. Virat Kohli was India's man of the series. Sam Curran has that variety of left-arm swing. He brings the ball back into the right-hander, then straightens that one up going across. And if you look at that one over he bowled last night, KL Rahul had a couple come into his pads, but that straight one that went wide of the crease that he bowls a little bit fuller is tempting for the right-hander to go after. And Rahul took the bait and nearly got caught hook, line and sinker. What that means, he took the bait. So for me, those 2 particular players are the ones that can bring England back in the game today. Robinson with his extra height and Sam Curran with that difference of left arm over the wicket. Good question there, Srinath. Okay, next question. Sorry, just before I answer your question, Satish Yadav, I'm not taking anything away against Broad and Anderson in that regard, but just on this seaming wicket, they're the 2 that I see doing the damage today for England to bring them back into the game? Good question. All right, get that question back up, please, Shubs. Satish Yadav. Hey, Hoggy, how are you? Pujara struggles playing in swinging conditions. Will he make any impact in this series? Pujara is the big worry for me in this series. If he doesn't do well in the first couple of test matches, I think, depending on how Rahul goes opening the batting, I think that we might see Surya Kumar Yadav coming out number 3 at some stage in this test series if Pujara doesn't stand up. The only reason why I'm saying that is he's got something special, something different, and just that energy and enthusiasm that he brings into the team. Batting at number 3, he adds something different, and he might be able to change the momentum of the game and take the swinging ball on and get a quick fire 40 or 50 and put the pressure back on the England team. Pujara's style of cricket is very good here in Australia, where you've got the ability to wear down the bowlers and make them bowl for long spells and set the series up where the opposition bowlers are really worn out because they bowled too many overs in that first 2 test matches. But over here in England, where the ball is moving around, sometimes you need a point of difference where you can have a batsman come in and take charge of those conditions and put the pressure back on the opposition bowlers and try and get them to change their bowling plans and just get them off that line of length. So I think Surya Kumar Yadav could fill in for Pujara down the track. That is a good one. I don't like saying it. I love Pujara. He's the ultimate typical test batsman going around, but when it's in swinging conditions, he's really struggled. So that could be a change that I see down the track. Next question, please, Shubs. Vikshit, did I say that? Sorry. Vikshit Banala. How you going? KL Rahul to score big and make his opportunity count. I totally agree with you there. I really was impressed with the way that he was batting last night. He was nice and tight. There were a couple of flourishes outside off stump, but I think that's nervous energy, and I just think he'll get a little bit of luck here, and he deserves that opportunity, and he deserves a big break, because if you look at the way that he's been set up in this Indian lineup, he's been very versatile, and he hasn't had a stable role throughout his career. So he's been one that's been that adaptable batsman that's been able to bat out 4 in certain circumstances, 5, 6, but also go in and open the batting. And to have someone like that in your squad is essential. So I'm really hoping that KL Rahul makes the most of this opportunity and makes a big score, because he's a quality batsman. He's got a quality attitude, and I just love his demeanour and the way that he goes about his cricket, both on and off the field. So come on, please, KL Rahul, make the most of this opportunity. And for English supporters out there, I'm not doing that for India to beat England. I just want to see someone who has had a lack of opportunities but has been thrown in different roles just make the most of his opportunity and have a long couple of years out Test cricket, because he deserves it. Good question there, Banala. I can't believe I said that out at the start. Ashok Kalakayi. I hope I said that right. Hi, Hoggy. Don't you think including Siraj and Shardul in the team made a huge difference? I think it did. The good thing about it is Shami and Boomer really put the pressure on England out the start. Siraj just came in and did his job, same with Thakur. But the thing is, yes, they went out over 3 and over, both of these bowlers, but because they were on top, it's a perfect scenario for India to expose these 2 young bowlers to create that depth in their bowling department in such conditions when they're on top of the opposition. And the good thing is that we know that Siraj can handle the pressure when things aren't going right. He led the attack down here in Australia. So just getting used to these English conditions when they're on top, I think is just going to play a major role in the back half of this series. And I think Shardul and Siraj will both definitely in the latter stage, either way, whether they rotate their bowlers will have a huge impact, and both of them will pick up a 4 or 5 for at some stage in this series. So I'm very surprised with Shardul. Look, with Shardul, one thing that I'm still trying to work out whether he could lose a little bit of weight just with his fitness or not. But he just keeps coming in and being able to bowl what he does. If he can he strengthen up, just lose a little bit of weight and get a little bit more muscle and just a little bit of extra pace with that swing, I think he could be a more dominant bowler than what I see right now. I might be tough on him, but I'm just going to be monitoring that and see how that goes down in the future, because he's got such talent, Shardul. Good question there, Ashok. Next question, please, Shubs. And I don't like having a go at other people's fitness in a sense, because they've got skill and he still works pretty hard. Pratik, how are you going? Good to see you again. Hey, Hoggy, hope you're fine. I am. Hope you're all fine, everyone that's following me here. What's your take on umpiring? A lot of fingers are being raised on umpiring and DRS. For me, with the world out at the moment, and we've got to have home umpires, I think it's good that we've got DRS going on board. But when we've got neutral umpires, I don't really like the use of DRS much, because I think umpiring is a huge art and it's a skill. If anything, a third umpire should be monitoring the no balls all the time, so that the main umpires out in the middle can get the decisions right out the back end. That's not really good with my hand going like that, is it? It's annoying. So for me, I think I'd like to see a lot less DRS and see that umpiring skill come out. Only use it for runouts and picking up the no balls. But when we've got neutral umpires, it's good to see. And talking about the DRS, Kohli has been so nervous listening to Pant that he's been a little skeptical of going up for the review, but Pant's got him a couple of times in this test series. So I think Pant switched on a little bit behind the stumps, and I think Virat Kohli might be going to him a little bit more. So there's a good connection between keeper and captain going on at the moment. Good question, that, Pratik. That's something that umpiring is always going to be questioned. DRS is always going to be questioned, because there's always going to be mistakes made with the technology, and there's always going to be umpires are always going to make mistakes as well, just as much as the players. But good question there, Pratik. I just love seeing good umpires perform well and do their duty and have a good game as well. Next question, please, Shubs. Kunjan Mystery, how you going? Hey, Hoggy, big fan of yours. Thanks very much. Do you think India will have any problem to bat in the morning of second day, as there would be lots of moisture? Also, can be help to England this series against Ashes. Also, can be help to England this series against Ashes. I think I don't think England are going to get any aid coming down to Australia and play here in the Ashes with this particular series. It's different conditions, different ball, and we have more bounce down here in Australia than what we do over in England. So I think England are going to have to change their strategies. They've got to make sure they've got a bit of extra pace on the ball when they come here for the Ashes. Over in England, you can afford to bowl a little bit slower and allow the dupe ball to seam and swing. Let's go back to this test match. The morning of the second day is crucial. Overcast conditions, a little bit of moisture. England have got to get good early wickets. Do they go to the likes of Broad and Anderson, who've done it all the time, or do they take a risk and bowl either one of Anderson and Broad and Ollie Robinson or Sam Curran? For me, I'd like them to start with Jimmy Anderson from one end, where it swings a little bit more, and Ollie Robinson from the other end, where he can attack that good line and length when the batsman's just come to the crease, and try and get the breakthroughs there, and use Broad as a first change bowler. Because for me, Robinson's going to be the key bowler here. Get him up front when the batsmen have had a huge rest overnight and they're just trying to adapt to the conditions. early in the morning. So it's going to be tough for the Indian batsmen. They're going to have to work hard to get these runs. And I think the game's going to be a lot closer than what we think. But I think India at this stage are going to win this first test match. They're in the prize position. We've seen collapses before, but I think India right now, with the work and the time that they've spent preparing for this test series over there over the last 2 months, are not going to let this slip. So that's all we've got for you today, folks. Join us tomorrow for a little wrap-up of day 2. Enjoy the game tonight. I'm loving it. And well bowled to Jasprit Bumrah, Shami and Siraj, as well as Thakur, the 2 youngsters. They've done a great job. And stay safe.